me, Casey. Welcome to the podcast, episode 3 with Danny Quinn. Okay, so welcome to the podcast, episode 3 with Danny Quinn. Danny's a good friend of mine, and he's a corporal in the Irish Army, a PT and a fitness instructor. So then the idea of the podcast, again, go over it each time I do it, is that it's the idea of being mentally, physically and spiritually ready for the world, how them three things tie in together, and talking to very driven people about what they find pushes them on to do what they do and succeed at it. So training, to start from the start, I'm going to go back a few years to when you were slightly heavier.
Oh, thank you very much for that.
Metal fabricator, because I know your diet wasn't great. I remember playing football with you just before you started the army.
I remember the very day.
In Borno's house.
Kicking a ball around. broke up after it.
And then though, you went into the army and they kind of force you into, even if you haven't ran, everyone has to go together and do these runs up to, what's the hill called in Cork?
Oh, so you went to Patrick's Hill.
Yeah, Michael's Barracks, wasn't it?
Collins Barracks is Cork there, yeah. Force is a nice way of putting it. It's you have to do it.
Yeah, but how tough was that going from not being able to kick around the ball?
I tell you, I joined the army in 2006. Left school in around 2004, I'd say it was. Was out for a year. I was working away as a metal fabricator, breakfast roll every morning, chicken fillet roll at lunch, coming home eating a good dinner, pints there while you're waiting on the bus to get home. Right, yeah. And I lost a good bit of weight, not too major, like I was heavy, but the big thing was I was unfit.
Yeah.
Shockingly unfit. Like
that was probably your heaviest, was it?
I think, yeah, would have been up there, definitely up there, yeah.
16 odd stone, probably.
Yeah, I was heavy enough there before I joined. The fitness side of it, like you said there, half a game of ball, literally out of breath, weren't we? Like,
yeah,
we had the best, I was going to die and everything that day, yeah. Terrible. Remember then I was in work one day and I was driving around the forklift tipping away, and the mother rang me then and said, look, I have a letter here from the army and you're after getting in, you're starting in Cork. I think it was 4 weeks or 5 weeks, whatever it was at the time. And after doing my medical and all the year prior to that, just before I got the job as a metal fabricator. So it kind of gone out of my mind, and I was 100% wanting to be a metal fabricator. It was good life. The pay at the time was garbage, like, because I was an apprentice, but the benefits down the line, 4 years apprenticeship, you could go to Dubai, Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, but in saying that though, like every time I used to go up to your place, you always had books open at the army and guns and all, and your family was kind of into that, you and your brothers and all.
Yeah.
So that was always a bit like, you're probably going to end up going that route one way or the other. In a way.
At the time.
The SCA you were in before the army?
Yeah, the brother Michael was big into the army, big into anything to do with guns, things like that. It was a big hobby of his. We did a lot of shooting and all as young lads.
Yeah, we're getting the paintball across the back.
Yeah.
Then we go to the airsoft rifle.
Tipping around,
But so now, like, you do an awful lot of fitness now, even with the classes, but yourself. And you use the fitness trackers as well. How important do you think they are in terms of kind of watching yourself and progress and just going out on a daily basis, watching your heart rate or anything?
I tell you, I got my first fitness tracker about 3 years ago. I got a Garmin, the square face Garmin. Brilliant, great bit of kit. I bought it because it had the things I looked for was good battery life, had GPS built in, there was no messing around with phones or anything like that. Yeah, that's
a big thing, isn't it? Leaving the phone at home or not relying on it.
It was a massive thing for me because, and with work, like, I could go away for a week and my phone, I didn't need to charge my watch, because lads had Apple watches like you do, and they'd be there charging this every night, and I was like, sure, if I go away for a week, sure, that's my watch gone after a day, going around with no watch.
Yeah, the Apple watches do have a little lesser short span. They're all getting up there though. I think even once you have some kind of running thing, especially with GPS, you're fairly good to go, aren't you? Like, in a lot of ways. Like,
GPS is the key.
GPS is
found,
like I do a good bit of cycling, and a lot of lads use the Garmins. They're mad expensive and they clip it on. But sure, I just use my phone for emergency contact, but it has a GPS and it has your stats and it's taking your heart rate as you go.
Yeah.
They're handy out, like, I find. But they don't have necessarily need to have to get into running.
You don't need. There's all you need is a pair of runners, like. But what I found with it, I find it drives you on. Well, for me personally, it drives me on. If I'm out running, feeling a bit tired or whatever, and I just run along, and it's just me out there on my own, and next thing I look at the watch, and I'm 6.5 minute Ks, and then it just in my head, I'm like, why are you at? Like,
it drives you on as well when you like when you do a run or you're not wanting to do a run and you look up the Strava or something like that, and one of your mates after doing it, and they give you a like for the one you did the day before. It gives you a bit more of a vibe to it.
A kudos, yeah.
Yeah.
Kudos. Play it with yourself.
But what do you think? Like, you got into then kickboxing through the army. I'm sorry, it wasn't through the army, through the Dragon's Lair gym.
Yeah, it was Dragon's Lair, but it was Vinny DeRuscio there. He's from Kilkenny, professional world champion kickboxer. I was overseas with him in 2008, 2009, and we came back, and Burley Dial and Owen Dial, they both started up the gym, and Vinny came up, he came into the barracks and he was just telling people, look, there's a new gym up there, you all should come up and take a look. So I said, I did karate when I was a young lad and all. I said, look, I'll go up there, I'd be a great lad, throw a few kicks and all. Went up anyway, I said I'd have a look, and just got hooked straight away, yeah.
That's a few years, like, how long ago was that, mate?
That's, I was, 21 at the time?
Yes, 10.
Yeah,
10 years
ago, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you got as far as, you won the All-Ireland belt when you were doing it, up in, was it Smith? Not Smithville, sorry, it was out near Drimnagh.
Yeah.
I remember going up in the fight and had the bagpipes on, you coming out and all that. But so why did you pick kickboxing, or was that just?
It was literally at the time, I was back from overseas, was kind of in a bit of a slump fitness wise, didn't really know how to train, if you know what I mean. I knew in the army it taught me to just run, everything was just run here, run there, just get out on the roads and run, like. And then I was going up here and I was doing a bit of everything, hitting the bag, didn't realise the other sides of training, like, and I just got hooked straight away then, I was just in then.
What do you think made you do so well then, to get to to win the belt and all? Like, maybe the karate background, or just the fitness in the army obviously helped an awful lot. The discipline and training and all.
Yeah, I think the biggest part of it for me at the time was I just got hooked on it. I got hooked. I was going up 5 nights a week and I trained myself on the weekends. Every night that there was class on available in the gym, I was up there wrecking heads, coming in, you're back again, are you? In wrecking heads, coming in early, outside doing sprints on my own, coming up trying to get lads running with me. Come on out there and go for a run before we train, we'll do a few sprints. And I just got hooked on it, and I just loved being in the gym, training every night. Like, it was brilliant. That has to be the army mentality though as well, that you're there early doing the sprints outside. Because I was going to ask you more on the thought side of things, that I feel as though there's a difference between someone who's out running, doing a few bits every week, or training or whatever, but then once you're in the army and you have that discipline in you, that where you're up the crack of dawn, fucking sprinting up hills, like doing all that, it obviously gives you a different mindset when you go to do something like kickboxing. You have that kind of discipline in you already. Yeah, the army is great. It's a great tool that way. Like, it builds your mental resilience. Like, when you're halfway across the Galties with a pack on your back and the only way is up and you've no choice but to drive on, pretty much, like, do you know what I mean? And in your head, all you want to do is quit, but you look around, all the boys are there and everyone's in the same situation, and you just go, look, I'm just doing this, and that sticks with you then. So from your recruit training and builds all the way up through your career, you just, the hardship side of things, it easily transfers over to other sports, just the way you think about things, the way you act, the way you approach training, like,
set you up for everything, kind of.
Yeah, I find it does. Like, you've more resilience, like, to a bit of hardship. Like, a lot of people shy away from hardship. You know a lot of people who would, you know them yourself. Once the times get tough, you can see them, and in the army, when times get tough, you have to drive on. You've no choice in the matter. You're getting drove on up a hill or whatever.
When you say going up the hill and you have all the lads with you, like, I realised there, and it's probably because of you going to help me realise that I've been training by myself for a while now. And then when you train by yourself, you kind of set your own pace. I don't think you realise where your comfort zone is, or when you get out of it. You know, you go out for a jog and you're kind of like, I'll go up to there and I'll do that, and that's a tough enough effort or whatever. But recently enough, I was saying to you, I was trying to get into the running, and I was doing this couch 5k app, and I was like, walk for 5 minutes, jog for a few minutes, walk. And I was like, jeez. And by the time I was finished, just looking at my watch, counting down the seconds, I was back in and said, oh yeah, that's the best effort I can give. But then you said to me there, only recently enough, come up to my house and bring your runners with you. And we started off doing sprints, and then we went straight into it. And I said my heart rate was already amped from point one. And then you were like, but you're jogging with someone now, you're jogging with me now, so there's no stopping, so get it out of your head, we're doing it. And I thought myself, I was already giving it a good bash. But I don't know why you get this kind of like mental fear that you're going to push yourself too far, or that your heart's not going to be able to take it, or something like that, you know, where you're like, don't stop. If you need to, like, put your hand on hips and slow down, but you're not stopping and taking off clothes and all. And we did it, and I didn't think I could ever do it. I thought it was miles away from doing a 5k without stopping. And then I went out 2 days later and did a 5k quicker again, like thinking about the same way.
You broke the barrier, like
broke the mental barrier.
That was the big thing that evening. Like, I found
there was a lot of whinging, I know.
Oh yeah, there was a horrific amount of whinging.
But because you get too comfortable with yourself.
That's the thing, like, you're out there and you're running and you're looking at your watch and you're a great lad of this, that and the other. Oh, I'm after doing 5k, oh brilliant. But have you pushed yourself? Could you have gone harder? These are the things that you're thinking of, like. But when you have someone there and they're not giving you a second, you just have to go, like.
That's what you're saying with the army going up the hills. Like, you'd stop if you were by yourself, but then you look around and you see all the lads doing it as well. And they're all pushing you on, they're all helping each other out. Because I remember you saying, like, when you joined the recruit training, then you came back with a load of best mates, like brothers or something. You know, you were telling me, you know, when you go through them hills with them lads and sleeping in trenches with them, you have a whole new appreciation for your lads around you.
Shared hardship is what it is, like, a shared hardship. I remember we did this together. And then you meet, I can meet fellas now, and I joined the army in 2006, so I'm coming up on 13 years now. And I meet a fella that I hadn't seen in 5 years. Could meet him in a barrack somewhere, and we'd have trained together, and that's the first thing you'll talk about. Oh geez, do you remember when we did that? Do you remember them days? Oh, do you remember when we had this? Do you remember when we did this? It's just straight back to that. Yeah.
Do you think you can push yourself too far in other ways as well? You know, if there's a lot of people who are like sitting on the couch who can't do a 1k. I was talking to Noel about this, because Noel put on the weight there last year, and I took a photo of him, and he said, I took it taking the piss out of him, you know. He was standing there with a beer in his hand and all things.
Or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he was sick as a dog then, and he said that photo really, like, he went out the next day. For someone who was always mad fit from 4 or 5 when he started training, he said he went out and he started running, and he could only do 1 kilometre back to the house. 1 kilometre and back to the house and all. But can you push yourself too far when you're too far away from that fitness? Like, do you think that you'll telltale signs will kick in, like they'll stop before you hurt yourself too much?
I don't know about maybe hurting yourself too much. I think you can always overdo everything. Like, everything has to be done right, but you can't push too hard. But at that level of fitness, like, anything is better than not.
Yeah.
At that stage.
Yeah.
Literally getting up and walking up and down the stairs 5 times is better than what you were doing.
Yeah.
So if you can, I push myself to as far as you could go, and then again, like we were only talking about, have someone come out with you then after that.
Yeah.
And see if there's that extra gear. You could find the 5th gear, 6th gear with someone beside you.
Yeah.
That you never thought you had.
Sometimes you just need that one time. Like I took from that from when I was doing with you.
Yeah.
Like the next time I went out, it wasn't back to what I was before. Yeah. I was better again. Cause it was like the mental barrier broken. Yeah. And sometimes you're doing too. I'm going to say a couple of k. I know people can do a lot more, but sometimes you're like, oh, my pace is slower in this 2nd k. And then you finish it and you're like your 3rd or 4k or your quickest, even though you hit a wall sometimes in it. And a lot of people can stop when they hit the wall. But you know, when you push through it, sometimes your body gets into the rhythm of it, and your heart rate balances out, and all of a sudden you're flying at it, you know. But I said that it can be disheartening when you see people doing 20k's and you're doing 5k, you know, on your Apple Watches or your Strava's and all. But it is like everyone has to start somewhere.
That's the thing.
If you don't get up off the couch, you're not doing anything.
That's exactly. All, like, that's the only way to look at it. It's better than doing nothing. If you're doing nothing, you're just getting worse.
Yeah. What about like I was saying, like you always had the army books and all that, but you always used to read an awful lot though, didn't you? I remember you'd be waiting for books to come out when I was younger. I was never big into reading when I was younger, but you always had books at home that you're reading and sharpening up on.
Yeah, reading was a big thing in my house growing up. My brother read a lot, my father read a lot. So we always, I don't know, it was different back in the fucking 90s and all. You didn't watch as much TV, you were outside, you were doing this, that and the other, and a good book there. I don't know, I got into reading, like, when I was young, I read all the Lord of the Rings, all the Harry Potters, all of them.
Yeah, so I remember you waiting for like a Harry Potter book to come out. We were in the campsite. Yeah, do you remember that?
Stood outside the shop, and I was about 16.
Yeah.
Pure nerd, stand outside the shop waiting for Harry Potter to come.
Do you think that helped in terms of, obviously you went into the army, but you always wanted to, you were always doing more courses. Every time I was talking to you, you're doing like the .5, you know, the anti-tank gun, is it, and all, like,
a few different things, yeah.
You always wanted to do, like, a lot of people be complacent enough, same as like join the Guards or join anything like that, where they're like, they've gone through their recruit training, they're happy enough to step back and take away the years. But you always wanted to push on to, like, even the test to become a corporal or a PT. You got that through the army as well, didn't you?
All through the army, yeah.
What do you think drove you on to do them things rather than just sitting back and saying, look, I'm there now, so I'm happy enough?
No, like, I'm not gonna lie to you. There was years there that you'd sit there in work and you were just coming in doing the same stuff and you'd go, I don't want to do anything. I just want to just do my bare minimum and keep going. But then you're like, this job in regards to the army, like, it's a great job to have. Like, it is, like, I know at the minute in the media and all, it's getting a bad name, but it really is a great job. You can train, you can go on all types of courses. Like, you can go from having no driving license to driving an armoured car in a few months. Like, do you know what I mean? Where else are you going to get that? Like, up for full licenses. Like I did the PTI, PTS courses. They're all qualified outside of the army as well with University of Limerick. Like, do you know what I mean? You get a level 6 out of them. Doing the NCO's course, you get a level 6 out of Carlow IT. Do you know what I mean? So
what way did you want to do the PT thing? Because I know, like, obviously the army kind of instills the fitness side of things into you, but then a lot of people can sit back after that and put on a bit of weight and all. But you wanted to obviously become PT. So last year you did the course for that?
I did actually, this January I did the PTI. Last year, or the year before, I did the PTS. So the army works with a system that to become a PTI within the army, you have to be an NCO or an officer. So I'm an NCO, so on my NCO's course we do a week block. It's called a PTL. It's a PT leaders course. So in that block you learn how to warm people up, bring them for a run, cool them down. Basic. So you can train recruits, so you can train people in the barracks, bring them for runs, things like that. And from there then you're qualified to apply for the PTS course. That's PT supervisor. So that's just a step up. It's all in tracksuit, shorts, t-shirt, and it's circuit training, weightlifting, running, different types of running, sprint sessions, things like that, and it brings you up to that. Then you go on and do the PTI course, and that gets you all three courses combined get you your level 6 from UL. But the PTI course brings all the army stuff into it. So running on logs, carrying ammo tins, carrying sandbags, carrying dummies, all the battle PTs. So you can do a lot more stuff that a person, say, outside of the army that does a personal trainer course, because our one's a physical training instructor is our one. Like, we can do a lot more stuff, ropes, all the army gear, carrying all the stuff, and in gear. So you have to be a PTI to instruct people on that in the army. Like,
what's the idea of carrying all the gear and doing it? Is it just like real life scenario? You might be carrying rations or ammo, or is it you might be holding people out of like situations that are injured along the way, or it's just to make it more difficult and more strenuous to so you're well able to do it without the gear?
When they're doing it, you think they're doing it just to crease you, but there's learning outcomes for everything. Like, you go overseas and you don't go anywhere without a flak jacket, a helmet, body armour, like
and it's probably roasting as well.
Yeah, your ammunition, your rifle. You don't go anywhere without that stuff on you. So you have to be able to carry yourself.
That's true, yeah. But if you walked out there and say, oh, well, this is way harder than at home, well, at least you're trained for it.
And someone gets injured and you have to carry them on top of all your gear, and you haven't done any of this kind of training, you're at a serious loss straight away. You're no good to anyone then.
Yeah. So this is the gym where you do your classes, isn't it? You started classes this year, DQ Fitness, and this is the first time I've seen it. Some setup. What made you start that up?
Well, I'd say a good friend of mine from Exeter was doing them, and he was having great success, and he's brilliant PGI, and I just liked how it looked. I liked the way he was doing it. So I said once I did the PGI course, I was qualified to do it, PTS and PGI. So I said I'd have a go at it myself, just to help people get fit as well. Like,
I've seen a lot of photos of all McGregor and Ali and all that. I haven't seen a photo of you with the belt on. Hanging up on the wall.
No.
That gives the people a lot more kind of, at least you're being trained by someone who you can see has won an All-Ireland belt.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth hanging up.
Yeah, but sure, there's no better motivation than Rocky behind the bag.
Yeah, that's true enough as well, yeah. How do you find, obviously, I was getting a few mixed answers to this question about listening to music while you're exercising. I know you have to do, like when you run a course or a fitness class, obviously music is key to it, but when you're out by yourself, do you find you listen to a lot of podcasts, or do you listen to music when you're running, or do you find it helps at all? Do you not bring earphones at all?
I always run with music.
Yeah.
Every time. I wouldn't leave the house on. Obviously, I would run without them if I didn't have a phone or whatever, didn't have music. But my preference is music. Like, but a lot of the time I find I zone out.
Yeah.
I'd have the music on.
Still zone out.
And I still zone out completely, and just thinking of other stuff. It's a great way to clear your mind. But I'd always have music on, because then when you zone back in and you realise you're out of breath and you're half
that's when it helps.
Next thing you're like, oh, good song on here, drive on, singing along in your head or whatever.
Yeah, I find that too actually. Like, it does drive you on, but a lot of times it's like cycling and running. When you get out in the fresh air and you have that hour away from the TV or the phone that you're not looking at, it's too easy to grab sometimes when you're at home.
Yeah.
But you do sort out stuff, like upcoming stuff, like, I want to make sure I do that right, and you do get to clear your mind, even if the music's on. But the music does help an awful lot.
Oh yeah, like, music helps a lot.
It's proven to, like, it does drive you on like 13% more. And I do find in my cycles, I even tested that. Now I listen to podcasts as well, and I do find that helps, keeps your mind kind of, when you want to look up on something, there's nothing easier than throwing on.
Would you find it better to listen to a podcast cycling than running?
Yeah, I don't listen to podcasts running actually.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to.
But if I go for a walk, just bringing steps up, I listen to a podcast or something.
100%.
But
a long cycle there now, podcast would be
yeah, that's the right job, because a long cycle, running's different as well. You give a lot more effort with running in a short period of time. Like, you think of, like, you do a 5k run, you do it in, say, hopefully under 30 minutes. But to burn the same calories for a cycle, you're going to be going out for a couple of hours. Like I burn 600 calories doing a run, probably because of my weight as well. Like, I'm 16 stone. But to do that on a bike, you're going to be doing 50k. 50k to get the same back. But it's good for endurance, good for clearing the head.
Less wear on the body.
Yeah, I have a terrible time with injuries, and I was talking to you about this earlier on. Like, my shins are terrible at me. My knee now seems to be gone. Which I'm going to get checked on Wednesday. But you haven't really come across much tears, or would that be because the way you were, would they have stopped? When you start your recruit training, sure, obviously people are unfit, they're not used to running, they probably don't have the muscle in their calves or something like that. I would imagine there'd be a lot of injuries.
Yeah, there is a lot of injuries in recruit training. What did I do? Twisted my ankle, I think, in recruit training. Just not used to it, like.
Yeah.
So even just a simple thing like boots. No one's used to run around in boots. Like,
boots, yeah, that's like
that's the basicest level, like, that you can go to, like, boots. People not having ran in boots. Who runs in boots? Like, you don't go to a building site.
Probably sticking a few insoles in.
Yeah, people, like, you have to do what you have to do, like, to get through the
You never think of it actually. Boots, like, it's like, I'd be going out and looking at what's the best shoes for running. Not like you do recruit training and you run fit. You got to just put a pair of boots on, and they're not that good in the sole. Like, I worked in building sites for 4 years, and I think my legs would be paining me just up and down the stairs, or like carrying tools or like that. Like, I can't imagine running in boots. It'd be a nightmare.
They have a good system though. They start out as all runners, and then they bring up the uniform with runners. Yeah. And then you progress from there onto boots, and then it'll be boots with no gear, and then boots with gear, and then it's all everything then. As you progress, like. Yeah.
Another thing as well, when I was talking to you, so I've only spoke, this is the third episode, so I'll have Noel on first, I had Neil on, and then yourself. All three is be quite motivated, I would say. Noel with the boxing, and like taking on the Ballyhore trials and the big runs. Neil as well, heavy guy, lost a lot of weight, turned it around, became a personal trainer, running big runs as well, ultra marathons, whatever. And you as well, like going into the army, becoming a PT, setting up your own classes and things like that. So what me and Noel found the same commonality, that our fate was good drivers in terms of just trying to better ourselves in a day to day. Neil found it in his own weight loss journey and probably things with his man and all that. Where would you stand on what drives you? Would it be anything to do with faith, or would it be more what you've gone through?
I wouldn't say faith as much. Like, I'm probably the same as everyone else that grew up in this country, went to mass every Sunday, said the rosary, got in the car, said the rosary. Now we'll do a decade of the rosary. My man will kill me now, cheers this. We'll do a decade of the rosary, but in regards to training, it wouldn't even cross my mind, and that's a fact. Like, when I train, it's just, you're training, you're doing this, you're doing whatever, and just kill yourself as hard as you can go. Try beat your last time, try do this, try do that, whatever it is at the time. I wouldn't think too much into it. I just know I have to beat myself. I'd rather beat myself or beat someone else's time than think about anything else.
Yeah.
That's the way I approach training. Like.
And what about bettering yourself? Would you kind of what gives you the meaning to do that rather than sit on the couch every day and say, look, I'm in the army, I'm happy enough where I'm at, but obviously you have a drive to start kickboxing up, or is it just the pure love of exercise? It's just at the start it was you love it and you just want to be in the gym, you want to do this, and you win a fight. I suppose it feels good winning the fights, or looking at the weight fall off.
Yeah, you can't match the feeling of going into a ring and beating someone competitively. You can't describe the feeling. You can't describe the fear beforehand either, especially walking out for your first fight and going in and beating another man in a combat sport. You can't match the feeling that you get from doing that. But I'm gonna fight.
Yeah. Noel said as well, like he finds as well that kind of combat, going toe to toe with someone, it's like a game of chess almost. Like, you have to be quick, you have to be strategic. It all comes from how much have you put into the training, or how much do you want it, in a lot of ways as well.
Yeah.
So I guess that, a lot of people wouldn't go through that. I've never just like fought someone. I wouldn't know that kind of way as well. Like, when I think of people getting into, sometimes when you fall in with a big crowd, you get into these kind of sports. Like, we moved around a good bit when we were younger. I think by the time I was 9, we were in our 7th kind of place, 3rd primary school. You start all over again at 9, and everyone's already playing GA for years, and everyone has their own cliques and groups. And then a couple of years there, then you're into the next school, which is, and a lot of people are bringing their friends from their old primary school or whatever. But I think that helps a lot. With the army, you probably had lads that you knew, you went into the kickboxing with, whatever. I know my brothers played GA and I didn't, but they grew up in the same house, had the same friends as their kids, and they all were doing GA. It's very hard to walk into something, I find, and pick it up. It's probably easier nowadays. Kids can be a bit harsher with the bullying, I think. Nowadays I walked in somewhere.
Kids are just truthful.
Kids are just no filter. They can be mean. But nowadays, if I went in to do something and someone had a problem, I said, "Here," pull them aside. What were you saying there? And it's different now. As a kid, you wouldn't have the confidence to do it. But I think I stepped away from all sports and all doing that. Something like the army probably would have brought me into doing something. I think that's a good way of going. If to join the army, you get in among a big group of guys, and you all do it together, and you stay at it. It seems to have worked for you, in a lot of ways. So what would you say to any young person who's thinking about joining the army or kickboxing? I know they're two different things, but the army first.
The army.
You've always been pushing. Remember, you were always like to me and Vinny after you joined, like they're going for the army again. You'll put your name in there, lads, and get the medical going and all.
Look, the army, it's getting highlighted badly at the minute with the pay and things like that. It's getting a bit, well, not the army itself per se getting bad press, it's more the outside influences on the army, but I'd highly recommend the army to anyone. I'd have no problem with anyone saying they want to join the army. I wouldn't tell them to not join the army. I'd never say that to anyone, because at the end of the day, it is a great job to have. Especially for fitness wise, and if you play a sport outside, the army loves that.
Yeah.
They, like, if you go in already at a high level of sport, the army will encourage you to play your sport, give you time to play your sport, as long as you just give back to the army, do the bit of work that you're given. The army will look after you.
But one of those jobs that they look at developing, you know, they take you as a person, they look at developing. You know, if you go to a different job, you're there to do the job first and foremost. Doesn't matter who you are or like what level of fitness. You could walk in like rolling in a wheelchair. It doesn't make a difference. For the army, like, you're personally developing yourself, and they're, like you said, that they're happy if you're doing that. Bring your sport in, and they let you, like you were saying, they let you do all the courses. They encourage you to do all that. Plus it brings you up and all. But what about the kickboxing inside? Do you think that's a good sport to go from a young age? Yeah,
100%. Same thing again. Kickboxing is great. If you went in as a child and worked your way up through it, I'd advise boxing as well, because you have the Olympic side of things, which the kickboxing doesn't have. And it's all, like, you don't know, your child could go into boxing and end up in the Olympics. It's that simple. Like, they could end up in the Olympics, which is everyone's dream. Like, everyone's dream is to end up in the Olympics and represent your country. Like, so I definitely advise kickboxing. Definitely have the boxing as well. Between the two of them.
And the kids, I think it's a good way of kind of growing up with discipline, doing the sports. Before you get, like, obviously they're way too young to do the army, but they can do kickboxing from whatever age. Do you think it's good for kids to be doing that kind of discipline?
100%.
But do you think that you're like, I know your kids are quite young now, but do you think like they'll take from that as well? They see you putting the gear on, going for a run, rather than, you know, sitting on the couch and just eating shit all day, which we all do. But like, at the same time, like, they can see you're running, and they can see, you know, that, like, will you encourage them to do the army, or would you encourage them to do kickboxing?
I'd encourage them to get a good education anyway. Be the main thing. What I didn't do, I left school early, you know yourself, like. And
I know because you threw me your school bag running out the gate.
I'd advise them to get their education anyway. And if the army is what they wanted to do, I wouldn't tell them not to do it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't push it on them.
I wouldn't force it on them anyway, because to let them make their mind up. Same as sport. If they don't want to do sport, but they want to sit at home and read 7 books.
Some kids are more into the creative side and arty and whatever else. Or sometimes it takes them a few years to come into all that. But it is good though, I think, for them to see their parents being leaders in other ways as well, doesn't it? It gives them that kind of drive that anyone can do it. What about even like you see them being healthy and fit and all? Like I said, like that's more this generation, I suppose, isn't it? We all know the crack with it, like how important it is. Like obviously it gives a couple of years back on your life as well, like to enjoy with them. And
it's a big motivator to train as well with the kids.
So if you did your PT course at the end of last year, started this year, you started with DQ Fitness. Anything else coming up on the horizon? Do you want to see how this goes? Are you looking to, you were saying something earlier on about you're looking to do a few trial runs possibly down the line, you're looking at things like that? I'd like to get into something more competitive again. Haven't fought in a few years now, so would you go back fighting?
I don't know, it's a lot of commitment, like.
It is a lot of time as well, especially when you have young kids.
It's a lot of commitment, like, because I wouldn't want to go in half-arsed at it. I'd want to give it 100%. So
I know my uncle told me before, he says sometimes you have to be selfish with these things. It seems like you're being selfish. You can always make it up, but sometimes at the weekend you have to just go and work on yourself for a couple of hours or whatever long it takes. But it obviously is a big fight, but it is something you might think of doing.
It's crossed my mind. I know if
you get a lot of phone calls after this now. You come back, Quinn.
I know if Owen hears this, he'd be on my case straight away. I'd consider it, but I wouldn't say I'm 100% on it, because it's a big commitment, especially with small kids. So I mean, it's a lot easier to get out for an hour in the evening and go for a run and rack up 12k there than go up to the gym for 2 hours and come back with 2 black eyes.
I know, that is true, So you'd be happy enough to take away this and consider it, but maybe do a few trial runs or something like that.
I wouldn't mind getting into a bit of racing.
Did you do a Ballyhora trial maybe?
Handy, easy.
Kill it now, miss. No, fair play. I'm going to show a clip of just your classes here in the place itself, and what you're doing here, and everyone can check it out. I'll link it to Facebook and all the rest. Fair play, appreciate you coming on. Nice one. Fair play, Danny. Yes, well done.